way. Welcome to Business Beyond Borders. Today, I am sitting with someone who, out of all of the people that I've had an opportunity to meet in this industry, this particular industry, I am the most moved by. This industry, for those of you who haven't followed me yet on social media that I'm referring to today, is the hair care industry. We are tackling the subject matter, Black hair, the state of the union. And there's no more professional, more qualified person that I can bring to you today other than the founder of BOBSA, Black-owned Beauty Supply Association himself, Mr. Sam Ennon. Welcome to Business Beyond Borders. We're so glad to have you today.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You are most welcome. I would not be doing you any type of service if I didn't stop and say, everybody, I don't know when you're watching this, but we here at the Den radio station and Business Beyond Borders would like to wish Sam Ennon a happy belated birthday. I hope you spent it enjoying yourself immensely. You truly do deserve it.
Thank you very much.
Happy birthday to you. Absolutely, absolutely. So we're going to jump right in. Guys, we have so much content to share with you today. I'm most certain that we're going to have a part two, another edition to the State of the Union of the Black hair industry. But currently today, what we're going to start with is just giving you a little bit of background about Sam. Now, here's what I'll tell you. I cannot do enough justice to the background that Sam has experienced. We're talking about a walk through time in a short amount of time, because clearly he doesn't look like we don't look like what we've been through. And that's a blessing for us all. So I'm really excited about that. And so I want to turn it over to Sam and ask you, if you would, Sam, can you just kind of walk us through, how did you get started in the hair industry? Here we have a man in the hair industry that is not just in it, but creating it, sculpting it, and guiding the direction of what hair and how hair industry is actually going to be managed for the future state. So give us a little bit about your background and how that even happened.
Well, I'll do it quickly. I started back in, I think, 1978 with a company called Clairol.
Okay.
I used to be a sales rep for Clairol, and I was quickly promoted to district manager. And I covered 11 Western states here in the United States. And we used to service actually drugstores, Longs, CVS types of stores, independent drugstores, etc.
Right.
And so that's where my background came into selling. And from that point on, I was with Clairol for about 7 years. I quit and then started becoming an independent,
Sure.
independent sales rep for general market companies. I've sold fine fragrances to Macy's, iMagnus, Saks, Liberty House, and I've sold cosmetic lines.
Okay.
I represented Roy Roberts. I represented Zeri Cosmetics.
Yeah.
I've done in-store promotions, makeovers in the fine department stores.
Okay.
And from there, I stopped that company and started my own company, a repping company called Alexander and Associates.
Okay.
Which is a repping company, and I had reps to work with me and for me, and we represented small independent general market companies from Europe and England.
Okay. Yeah.
And then from there, I started another company called Coifco, short for Coiffure. And under that company, I created a brand of products called European Silky Wrap.
Yeah.
And that was when the wrap was in, when actually Loreal, Revlon had a called a Wrap and Tap. So we came out with a lotion, a complete line of relaxers,
That's right.
shampoos and conditioners.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I started another company, which I became a rep for Black manufacturers like Worlds of Curls, Dark and Lovely.
Okay.
Wow. Leisure Curl.
Wow.
And
I know this is resonating with the listeners. Absolutely.
So I repped all those companies. And then from there, I just started creating my own brands of products. and I created several brands. A brand called Off the Hook, Twist
Okay.
Threads and Locks,
Yes, twist
uh,
threads and knots.
and several other brands that I created. And so from that point, with all that experience and knowledge that I've gained, I decided to. I had a product called for mixed hair way before mixed chicks came out with theirs.
Okay, gotcha.
But when I came out with for mixed hair, the social consciousness, they were not ready for the word mix. And it was taboo to say mix. And so they used words like biracial, et cetera, but they didn't like, it wasn't accepted until Obama became president.
Wow.
Then,
Years later.
Yeah, because what happens is that the black hair care industry is a social consciousness. When styles change, it changes based on what the political climate is in the United States. It's hard to believe. Clothes, hair, all of it. It changes with the political climate in the United States. And the black community, the black hair care, whether it's hair care or fashions, all of the styles in the world come from the black community here in the United States. That's where all of the trends come from. The rap music, all of that is all a part of our culture, which we created. Right. We created it, you know, so everybody wants to eventually take it from us, you know. So I knew, I felt that, and I can feel it. So I know I can look in the future, believe it or not, and tell you what the next style is going to be by the climate of the of the black community and the feel that we have in our black community. That's why when the natural came out, when the natural trends came out, first it was the curls, the Jerry curl, World's Curls, and all those companies. Hold on.
Sure.
When they came out, when the natural styles came out, everybody was pumped up about it. It was really exciting, you know.
Exactly.
And then that was because another reason. That was because of when the natural products, natural styles, you need natural products. So the natural products were not created. So the Koreans that control the distribution, they didn't have natural products in their stores. So what happens is that the natural community, the natural shops that do natural hair, they created their own products. And so they created their own products and they started selling them. And then of course, at the same time, the internet, you know, kind of really pushed it to another level. So really, that's where we are right now. And then the natural styles have slowed down because of the mere fact that hair is easier to get now through the internet, because the Koreans and the Chinese, the Koreans are the distributors, the Chinese are the manufacturers, and they really don't manufacture hair. What they do is they treat it and process it.
Now that is a very good point, and that I want to make certain that this is all good stuff. I don't know about you all, but this stuff is good. This is some good content right here. So before we get too far into that, let me first say, if you're just joining us, welcome. You're listening to the Den radio station. You are listening to the Business Beyond Borders radio segment. I am your host, Rayshawn Chambers, and we have with us today, giving us this awesome content regarding the black hair industry. We're giving a State of the Union today regarding the black hair industry. And I'm here with Sam Ennon, who is the president, and founder of BOBSA. Okay, so you're going to hear more about BOBSA. We're going to give you some contact information regarding BOBSA and a host of other things. And we're going to move into our next segment of our meeting with Sam. And right now we're talking about the Korean Chinese whole relations piece. So we're about to kind of get a little bit more into that. So if you can maybe repeat what you just said, Sam, for those who just joined us, not the whole thing. He looks shocked. He's like, wait, everything? No, I'm not going to do that way. But just in terms of, now the manufacturing piece. So you were right at that place where we're talking about manufacturing. Who's the manufacturer and the distribution? And I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay. There's two segments. There's the manufacturer of wet goods. That's shampoos, conditioners, relaxers. Okay. And then there's the other piece, which is the the manufacturers, and they're not really manufacturers of the hair. They bring the hair into the United States. There's two factors in that. But the manufacturers here in the United States was Soft Sheen, Carson Products, and Luster. Now those companies, the only company, black company that's left is Luster. He's the only one that's left. The rest of them have been sold to Revlon and L'Oreal. So those are gone. So we've lost that out of our community. And keep in mind, all of those companies hired black people. A lot of those black companies had 200 or 300 sales reps that depended on that industry. You know, so where did they go? L'Oreal and Revlon claimed that they would bring them in, but you know how that is. So that's that piece, and they control the wet goods in the hair. The Koreans and Chinese cannot make wet good products because they can't make it over there because of the water. It takes special water here in the United States to make those kind of chemical products. They don't make it, okay? Yeah, they can't make a shampoo or relaxer in China. They can't because of the water, you know. The other thing too is that now the Chinese and the Koreans don't get along. The Chinese and the Koreans don't get along.
That's
they hate
an
each other.
interesting distinction, a very interesting distinction. We tend to make that mistake, right, as African Americans, and we see someone and we'll say, okay, well, they're Asian, they're all Korean. But the interesting point, the Chinese and Koreans don't get along, huh?
Yeah, and the Japanese don't like eating them. The Japanese don't like because, you know, they have history. The Japanese, you know, back in the world, before World War II, Japanese used to invade China and put their people in slavery, you know, so they really don't like each other. It is really a mess over there. And I have been to China, was invited to China by the Chinese government and the Chinese manufacturers, you know, and there's photos all over the internet showing that invitation that they gave me. And which that's another story for another day. Okay. But the Chinese they have the factories. They collect the hair from the peasants, and then they produce it. They treat it, and then the Koreans come in and create a brand, and they do the private label for them, and then they sell it into the Korean beauty supply stores. Now they create brands like Milky Way, which they won't sell to black beauty supply stores. They only sell it to their people. You know, so that's how they've gotten us out of the market. Because that's why it's so difficult for us to open up a beauty supply store, because a lot of products we can't get. So that's where BOPS comes in. We've been able to make that happen where we can get those products when we help a new beauty supply store open. So, but the Chinese is really invading the United States now. They haven't invaded the United States because they're selling directly to the consumer, the black consumer. They want to bypass the Koreans altogether. But the Chinese don't like us either. They don't like black folks either. So, you know, their end game is the same as theirs, you know. So they're trying to pit us against the Koreans. And that's what they did when they invited me to China. But I went to China because I wanted to learn, because I've heard so many black folks say that I'm getting my hair directly from China. You know, that's not the case. That's not the case, because when I was in China, I didn't see a black person over there. I did not. And it's so difficult to get around. You know, what they're doing is that they're buying products through brokers, and they're not getting it directly from the factory. We're getting it directly from the factory. Okay. And that's why we're making it. And that's why I wanted to learn as much as I can, because it just makes what I'm trying to do even stronger, because I know where all the bodies are buried in our industry.
Absolutely, which brings about an awesome point. You were saying that that's what you all are doing, basically a wave you're paving through BOPSA. So people who are members of BOPSA. Okay, so can we talk a little bit about BOPSA? I'd love for our audience, and if you're just joining us, BOPSA is Black Owned Beauty Supply Association, and they are www.bobsa.org. So if you haven't had an opportunity, please go take a chance and, take a look at the website, read the content. There's a wealth of information even on the website there that you'll find about the history, the true history of Black hair, care industry and so forth. So I really want you to take a look at it. Again, that's www.bobsa.org. Okay, so you get a moment, please go over there and check that out. Sam, can you talk to us a little bit about your organization? I'd love to know what was, one of the most motivating factors for you to start the association. And now with an association that is approximately 5,000 members strong, what is your mix of members in terms of membership type? What type of businesses make up BOBSA?
Well, what made me start my interest in starting BOBSA, because I could not sell my products, as I mentioned to you, here in the United States anymore,
Right.
because of the 9,000 Korean beauty supply stores that locked us out. So I spent 2 years going back and forth to Brazil, trying to sell my mixed hair.
Right.
And so, but that didn't make any sense. So I said, why should I do that? And I'm a black man. I can't even speak. And those people over there, they speak Portuguese. I don't know how to speak Portuguese. Okay. And I didn't have a contact. So I went over there just blind. And so I decided, let me try and do, and then everything is about timing and things coming together. And one person told me that owned the beauty supply store that they couldn't get the various products. And I said, another person told me the same thing. So I said, we should try and put them together to start an association, because the Koreans have a Korean association. So why can't we have a beauty supply association? But we did have a black association called ABBA, American Health and Beauty Aid Association, the Proud Lady. And that was created when we had a number of black manufacturers. They were so strong that they created this association of black manufacturers to support the black beauty supply stores. And so, in fact, they had a logo that all of the black manufactured products would carry the lady. It's called the lady on the bottle. So they promoted to the consumer, look for the lady when you go buying a product. And it picked the bottle up and look, and it was the Proud Lady. And if it was not on the bottle, that means that they're not a black company. Okay. So that's the same kind of concept we're doing too right now with BOBSA. We call it Look for the Lady in the Circle, which is the BOBSA logo with the lady in the circle. Look for the black lady in the circle. So when the customers come to buy a product, they go to the product and they look and see if there's a black lady on the bottle. Mm-hmm. But those are sort of small manufacturers just beginning to start, and we're going to try and grow that. Okay, awesome.
I think that's good stuff. So if someone was looking to become a part of and involve themselves more closely in terms of becoming a member of BOBSA, what should they be considering? What are the top 3 things they should be considering in terms of, should I join or not?
Well, there's something for everybody. There's something for the black consumer, which is the BOBSA membership card, which we created to partnership with manufacturers that want to honor the card and give the black consumer a discount anywhere from 10 to 25%. And that's a free card. They can go on the website and get that. And then there's something for the salons. There's something for the barbershops, beauty supply stores. You want to start a beauty supply store and you don't know anything about the business, we can help you with that from start to finish. If you want to make your own product, create a brand, we can help you with that, because we have private label companies can help you, walk you through that. If you're looking for an attorney, we can help you with that. If you're looking for a real estate person to find a location, we can help you with that. If you want us to really help you come out and build a store and you don't want to do it, we don't recommend that because that's too expensive. We'd rather you not pay $25,000 for somebody to come in and put the store together for you. You should do it because it's your business. That's the only way you're going to learn the products and your store. It's very important because the people that are opening these stores, the black folks, they're families and they don't have a lot of capital. So they don't need to spend money for someone to come in and put products on the shelf. They need to do them themselves. I always encourage that. Yeah. And that's what we do. We hand walk you to the process. And if you need a business plan, we can help you with that, do a business model. If you're looking for sales reps, black reps, we can help you with that.
Right.
Just about anything that you want. You're looking for some black magazines, we can help you with that. I mean, we got graphic artists. So if you want to, a website build, we can help you with that. So just about anything that you can imagine, we can help you with. If you want a freight forwarder that's black, we can help you. We got one in China. We can help you with that.
That's awesome.
If you want private labels on hair, we can help you with that. I deal with 7 different Chinese manufacturers directly. Okay. And we can help you with that, and there's no minimum. We guarantee the hair, the collection, we guarantee it, 30-day guarantee, give you money back, no questions,
Wow. So clearly membership has its benefits. And so that that definitely makes sense.
The thing about it too is the membership is $300 for, people that want to do it. But after that, we're going to start where they can just pay $50 and renew their membership. The $300 is because it takes a lot of effort in the beginning to help a person get started to open up a store, because there's a lot of things you have to do even before you get a location. A lot of them come to us and they don't even know what name they want to call the store. They don't even, they have no idea, they don't even know what the cost is. And the reason they don't know all of these things because it's not posted anywhere on it. You can Google all you want, you won't find it because the Koreans have kept it a secret. Because it's their.
I like too that you're saying here, and I'm hoping that our listeners and our channel viewers are following is, if you want this, we can help you with that. If you want this, we can help you with that. But the operative word here is help. It's help. So when you decide and you make the decision that you are ready to go into business and you want to get started somewhere, you know that you need help to do it. But you've got to be willing to put in the work.
And that's right. The other thing too is that a lot of people come to us and they have an idea. And 90% of the entrepreneurs are women, believe it or not. Okay. Black women. Well, it makes sense because they started in Madam J.C. Walker. Everybody thinks she's a godmother, but she's not. It's Annie Malone.
That's right.
And it's right there on a Bobson website. She's, in fact, Annie Malone. Madam J.C. Walker used to work for Annie Malone, But Annie Malone had the expertise in terms of selling. She knows how to go out and sell. But all of that came from Annie Malone, not from Madam J.C. Walker, A lot of people don't realize that. So, but most of the time when people come to us and an entrepreneur want to open up a store, they come with an idea. And I always encourage, really try and get them to nourish that idea. And they might not have enough money. And they'll just say, well, they ask me. And then they'll call me a year later with that same idea. And they didn't join. They just wanted to hear somebody talk to them for that moment, just to give them encouragement. Right. They don't have enough money to do it right then. But in the future, they call me a year later, 6 months later, that's fine. I'm okay with that.
That's awesome. Well, I hope you guys are listening. Those of you who are just joining us, you are listening to the Den radio station. The show segment here is Business Beyond Borders. I am your show host. I am Rayshawn Chambers. We are here today talking to Sam Ennon. As you can hear, we are covering some very good information right now today. So we look forward to those who are not yet aware. We have a Facebook Listeners Lounge. Feel free to come on over, pose some additional questions, share whatever your feedback is regarding the segment as we're going through it today. You can find us at bit.ly/join BBB group. That's bit.ly/join BBB group. That's our listeners lounge where we talk about all the upcoming show topics and what we thought about the shows that we heard from today or whatever time you may be catching this particular segment. So thank you for listening to us. Sam, we're going to go ahead and jump into something that I was holding 2 of the best for last because I just don't think that the listeners are going to believe this. But I'm excited about 2 things. So to give you the heads up, they're acronyms, right? So one is EBHA and the other is TBBBC. So let's start with EBHA. Yeah, I said that right. Tell me about that. Enterprise of Black Hair Alliance.
Well, I did kind of mention that project that we had. That was about a year ago, October. as I mentioned, the Chinese and the Chinese. I was approached
That's right.
by Koreans actually, because Koreans, I mean, they do get, some of them do get along. They wanted to try and penetrate the black hair care market, and they didn't want to go to Koreans. Because the Chinese, they didn't want to go to Korea. They want to go to directly to the black ones because they couldn't go to Koreans because the Koreans wouldn't let them into their market because they own this market. They don't want the Chinese selling directly to us. They want the Koreans they want us to protect that. But the internet has changed all that. So I was very reluctant to get involved with that because I'm not here. But our mission is the whole black hair care industry. So I need to learn about that. I need to see exactly what's going on with that part of our business. So I talked to him for almost 3 or 4 months, and I decided to go ahead and do the joint venture with them. And they paid my way to China. I spent 2 weeks over there. I took another young lady with me, black, because I wanted to make sure I had somebody. My wife didn't want to go with me, so I took one of my BOPSA members, in fact, and she's been with us for a long time, so I took her with us. And it was like a 15-hour flight, and I have never seen anything like that in my life. But it was a good experience, and I went to the factory, and we came up with this concept. We created all the brands. I even got my daughter involved. She named all the wigs, you know. I said, I need a bunch, but they wanted black names. You know, a lot of, all of the names you see that's out there in the Korean beauty supply stores, the Koreans have stole our ghetto names.
So we can.
They have stole our names. All of the names, and kind of what kind of names. And they have a red handbook on us.
Wow.
And so we came with the names, wigs, we did all of that, and then. Come to find out, like anything else, you got to watch what you're doing with people because everybody is not honest. And so there was some problems with that, but we still maintain. Okay. I'm dealing directly with the factory now, the owner, Mr. Fu. Mr. Fu. He owns it and he can't speak a lick of English, Right. So we still have the place in Chicago. Okay. We're going to be moving from there. We got a smaller place, but EBHA is still a brand. We have Far Fashions with that too. But the one thing about it is black folks that's involved with it. And that allowed me to get other manufacturers. And we have 7 manufacturers that we deal with right now. Mm-hmm. And we have, because everybody's buying, they're not buying package hair. The consumers are buying package. They're not buying, they buy bundles hair. Everybody wants bundle hair. They don't want package hair. Right. And the reason they don't want a package hair because of the fact that they think it's cheap hair. Okay. They think it's cheap hair. So they're buying bundle hair. So we decided to go ahead, and I tried to get them to, when they did EBHA, to start with bundle hair, but they decided not to. They wanted to do it the Korean way, the way it was selling to the Korean, but that's not a good business model anymore. Okay. Especially what was going on the internet. Everybody's bundle hair, but they don't know what they're getting. So we decided to come up with a separate thing called the collection. And the collection is 7 Chinese manufacturers of bundle hair, anything that's anything to do with hair that we can get. And we stand behind it. The 7 manufacturers are the top manufacturers in China. When we deal directly with them, not with a broker. Okay. See, most people that are selling here, you see a lot of people selling here around the United States. Yeah. But they're using brokers. Brokers is between the customers and then the manufacturers. We deal directly with the factory. I talk to them every morning, their time at 9 o'clock my time. Right. Gotcha. And they're just 7 o'clock their time the next day. So that's what we're doing. And now we got the collection. And we just did a website, and we can do private label for all of our members, just anybody that wants to, and we guarantee it. So, and we don't have to carry a lot of inventory. They'll drop ship for you. I can get them to drop ship. You don't have to carry a lot of inventory. So, they will drop ship for you.
So, any of your members that you guys would be able to white label
yes,
collection for them. So, if they had, say, I was ABC brand online beauty supply. I would be able to have that product, that
Yeah.
quality product, drop shipped to my customers.
Right, drop ship to your store because
Oh, to my
they
store.
some of them might want to do it to their customers, but a lot of them want to come to their store and put a label on it.
That's fantastic.
They can do their own label. But see that the thing. But what we need to do is we need to think as a group, because when people buy hair, bundle hair, they're just saying bundle hair. We're trying to brand the hair as a collection, because when people buy, they want to buy a brand name. They don't want to just buy, I can get this bundle hair. They want to buy a brand name. And the way you build a brand, this is my days in Clairol, you have to build that brand slowly and, and make it mean something. And you have to tell the story behind the brand. And then the consumer say, I don't want bundle hair, I want the collection.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's
because Black folks want to buy things that's got a name to it.
Right.
Bundle hair, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then you have no recourse when you buy hair online. You can buy hair online and you're not gonna get your money back. You're not gonna get it back if it's the bad hair.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not gonna get it back. What are you gonna do? Fly to China? You can't fly. We gonna sue? You better get in line. You gotta ask Trump first.
I can leave it to you. I hope y'all caught that. I hope you guys caught that good nugget about building a brand and how the integrity and truth and process that it takes, right? So it doesn't happen overnight. It's not a light switch thing, and you're doing it block by block to build up that brand. And that's how you get closer to being able to establish something that people will say, I want that thing. That's the one that I want. So I don't want you guys to miss those rich nuggets that's being dropped in between here. I'm going to play this back and pull out the ones that, just in case, if our listeners are missing any of this rich content, that's just supersonic to me.
Well, look at it this way. When a customer walks into the store, a beauty supply store, Korean, whatever, they don't go into the store, I want, you have some grease?
Right.
They don't say, give me some grease. They say, give me Clairol, or give me Vital. They have from Blue Magic. Really, that's a brand name. It's garbage. It's garbage. Right? It's garbage. But Jay Strickland buys all of the bankrupt small companies. Hair Rep. You remember Hair Rep?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, out of St. Louis. And my mom used to take it in that paint can, and she used to put it on the stove to heat it up.
Yep.
Yeah, that's Hair Rep, and it's out of St. Louis. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. Mom used to talk about it. That's fantastic. So we are, if you're just joining us, just a refresher, you're listening to the Den radio station. I am your host, Rayshawn Chambers of Business Beyond Borders. I'm here today with Sam Ennon, and we are taking on the topic, Black Hair Industry, State of the Union. So I'm really excited about you guys being here. We are, transitioning into our next segment topic.
One thing before you leave that.
Oh, sure.
I want to tell your listeners, if any of you have any questions at all, you don't have to join BOPSA. If you're not sure about it, don't Google it. Google BOPSA.
That's right.
Google BOPSA and call me, text me, and I'll get back to you. Not in 24 hours, but in 15 minutes.
Look at there. We have no excuse, guys. We have no excuse. Oftentimes we say, I don't know. How can I find? I'll share with you really briefly how I came about knowing anything about BOPSA was in my own line of work. I had gone into three beauty supplies. And that one particular morning, I had gone in. Each one of them, I'm used to getting put out of places. I'm not so much gun shy that I can't walk into a place and say, oh, no. So I walk in doing my usual business thing. And I think that day it just finally clicked for me that I didn't belong, that I had been spending my money in a place where they weren't willing to hear anything I had to say that was within 60 seconds or less. And that was problematic for me. So I started doing all sorts of Google searches. And I was trying to find my melanin somewhere in this World Wide Web. I'm going to find my likeness. And I came across BOPSA and I called and Sam answered the phone. And that, the rest is history. So that's my brief story. I've got more to tell you, but this isn't about me today. We're here to talk about Sam, and we want to hear what Sam has to say. But I definitely wanted to share that with you all. Everybody has a situation, a story, something that resonates with them. So I'll tell you that that definitely resonates with me. So I just wanted to.
Well, yeah, you just said that, and it's a good opportunity for me to tell you this. If you have that problem and you go into a Korean beauty supply store and they don't treat you right, and then another black beauty supply store happens to be trying to get started in that area, and you should support them. Now, most black-owned beauty supply stores, when they first started, they don't have a lot of capital. They don't have a lot of inventory.
That's right.
Bear with them because they will get it. They need your support. And it'll take a minute, but they cannot survive if you don't give them the courtesy in your service, and also shop them and support them.
Absolutely.
So that's important.
Absolutely. I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. So very true. I was looking and looking and looking, and there needs to be more of us. And we're popping up like mad online. We're starting to pop up a whole lot more. The online stores are kind of, making this resurgence and what have you. So it's happening, but we can definitely stand stronger. We can definitely do more. We can spend more of our black dollars with our black stores and our black store owners. We're willing to do the research if a new artist is coming out with a new song. We're willing to do the research if we're hungry and we're craving a certain type of food. So we'll look online for those things. And I just want to put a challenge out there that we do some research and see if there is, a local supply store near you. And near you meaning in your area. You'll drive to go get the food you really want. So I think we should also make that drive and go support the stores that we need to grow and we want to see more of. That's how we can ensure duplicity of the right thing. Okay, so I agree with you 100%.
Well, and don't say, well, I would shop a black beauty supply store, but I don't know where there's one, or their prices are too high. The prices are too high because they're not able to buy the large quantities like the Korean beauty supply stores. You can spend an extra 50 cents or $1 and support that store.
Mm-hmm. And by doing that, I'm sure we can help drive their prices down, because the more operating cash flow a business has, the more buying power they have to make decisions on our behalf, those of us who are shopping there.
Yeah, and the other thing too, if you go into a Korean beauty supply store, they use loss leaders. I don't know if you know what a loss leader is. A loss leader is a discount on national brands like a Dark and Lovely kit. They go below their cost or just above their cost just to get you in the store. But you just go to buy that one item, that's a loss leader, and you might pick up 5 or 6 items that are higher than you would get from a black beauty supply store.
Mm-hmm. And Sam, let me ask you about this, because one of the things that I hear about often is when people say, well, in order to buy from these different manufacturers, they have like a minimum threshold that's pretty large. It can be outpriced for a lot of, small beauty supply owners and so forth. And so what I'm hearing is that Korean stores tend to bind together. So 3 or 4, maybe 5 stores will pool their money together to meet that buying threshold that's necessary to get that product. Some people have a minimum purchase amount or something. What can you tell me about that so I can
Well, that's true. Well, when they first started, Mr. Jin, I was telling you, the one that's got 135 distribution warehouses.
Mm-hmm.
What he did is that he brought his countrymen from China, and he had 25 stores already, and he put them in those stores, and they worked for nothing. They slept in the back. That was way back when first generation came into the United States.
Okay.
And he would not pay them anything, because when I went to China, they don't pay their people anything. In fact, when they're building a new factory for hair factory in China, and at the same time they build a factory, they build the housing unit. So because the people that work in a factory live right there, so they build it together, and they pull them right out of the countryside. So Mr. Jin did the same thing when he created the huge network of beauty supply stores. He took them from the fields in China and put them right in his stores that he already established here. Mm-hmm. And then they worked 5 years, And then eventually he would give them the stores. But all of the money that they made in those 5 years, that they would have to give the money to Mr. Jen. He got so powerful, he created his own bank. They don't use the traditional Bank of America and Wells Fargo. Wow. Because most of them, their mindset is that they are so used to putting their money under a mattress. Right. So the same concept. So that Mr. Jen, he didn't use a traditional bank. You know, he was the bank. He was the bank. And he would give them, even after the 5 years, he would still give them 130, 190-day dating on the inventory. So if you get a new store open, he loads them up with all the inventory.
Right.
You know, so they don't have to go to a traditional bank to get money for that inventory. Mr. Jen is going to give them, and then they just give all the money to Mr. Jen.
Wow. It's a lot to be said about that.
Well, it makes you want to cry sometimes.
There's a lot to be said about that. So, yeah, then there's that. So, are you ready for our next topic?
Yes.
I'm excited. Can you tell? I'm excited about it because, okay, the Den listeners, we are about to put you on to something right now at this very moment. I know you haven't heard about it. I know you haven't seen it, but I'm excited that Sam is going to talk to us about the I'm just going to say TBBBC. That's a lot of B's and a lot of C's, but it's definitely something that is going to change the way we operate in the hair industry, and particularly in the barbershop industry. You want to, let's take them out of the dark, Sam, and let's tell them what this stands for.
Black Box Barbecue.
That's right.
Black Box. It was a concept that I was trying to figure out, because I had a lot of individuals coming to Box and wanted to get into the business, want to be a distributor. So, yes. And I noticed that the barbershops and salons and the natural salons, they do not retail products. And salons are notorious for that. We have been trying to, for the last 20 years, to get salons to retail products. But, you know, they need to teach it in the schools, and they don't. Mr. Dudley's, bless his soul, he's the one that came up with this concept where he actually had salons really excited about retailing products. But you know the history, had some problems. So that kind of, at one time he had 200 sales reps with products in the back of the trunk of their car running around selling products to the salons. And then the salons in turn would have a display and they would sell products. It was a dream come true, but we needed to take it to the next level, and we did not do that. So for many reasons. So I wanted to figure out a way how we could get young men to become distributors and service the box. We came up with an idea called the vending machine for barbershops, the Black Box. And actually it's all digital. They don't have to do anything. It's a program that we're trying to right now get financed. So because the machine costs $15,000, or it's a lease, we can't sell it to you. So it's and there's one for the barbershops, and there's one for the salon beauty box, and there's one for the natural shop, the natural box. And the nice thing about it, you can advertise on the box, streamline. Local politicians are going to be running for an office, or local restaurant. I mean, and that's revenue that you get. The barbershop owner gets in addition to the profit from selling the products in the machine. He doesn't have to touch it. Everything is monitored by phone. It's no cash, just debit card, credit card, period. And he can read it. And now barbershops are so sophisticated. They're more sophisticated than the salons are. All of them, they're taking appointments. They didn't used to do that.
That's right.
They take appointments, and all of the guys that are barbers, you pay. You don't use cash. They pay with their credit cards and everything. They got the phone. It makes it much easier now. So it just makes good sense, because Black men do not shop for themselves. You never see a Black man in a beauty supply store. And if he's there, he's standing behind a woman to give her money to buy some hair. He is not there to buy product. And if you're going to a Walgreens or Walmart, you see a Black guy in there, and he's totally lost. He's looking for some grease, or looking for a club brush or comb, and he doesn't know. And then if he wants something, he'll tell his wife, girlfriend, or whoever to pick it up and she forgets. Bring it home. She forgets it because she's going for all her stuff. And if so she forgets. So he's left out there. But if he's sitting in a barbershop and he sees this machine and he sees all the products in there, he's gonna buy, even if it's $1 more, because it's convenient for him. And brothers, all they need is a couple of basic things. They don't need all the stuff that women have,
right?
And it just makes good business sense for a barbershop. Barbershops don't retail, they would make a ton of money. They have a Coke machine in there, but we have to maintain the control of the box. If not, if we don't maintain control of the box, then you'll see Coke 45 in the box. So we have to do all that. We have to make sure we keep the inventory, and we have a warehouse in Lee, Massachusetts, to distribute the merchandise to the various spots. And the box is made and put together by a Black company called the Bin Doctor, out of Houston, Texas. So, and the same concept is for the salons.
That's awesome. I mean, if you can imagine, there's so much. You guys see red boxes. You've seen them around town in the different places that you live and so forth. But to have the foresight to say, let's put this together and let's, bring this to the marketplace. This is one of the finite things of being in business and being able to cultivate a sustainable business, is to solve a problem. First and foremost, what are you fixing? And that's why I get so stoked when I think about what this is. This vending machine concept, available, accessible, affordable for the end user. Definitely it's a monetized situation, but it's something that a shop owner could say, here's what my profit and loss is. Here's what I'm doing now with this turnkey solution. So when you look at it as a whole, this is supercalifragilistic. This is some good stuff. So I encourage all of the listeners to keep your eye out for it. If you've been thinking about something that you want to get involved with, something that you want to do downstream, looking for new investments, something like that, you want to take a close look at this. I intend to have some website information under the video, because we're also doing this this radio segment on video. So we will have this information available for you so that you can just click on the links. We'll also look to see if we can't get it put on the website for the radio station, because I'm sure if you are driving or if you're listening to us via the application, via the mobile app that we have through Google Play or iTunes, that you may not have your pen and paper ready, even though I told you to. Now you see what I mean. So this is all.
Well, the Black Box has its own website too, which is the Black Box Barber Caddy. Okay, so they can go there, and the brochure is on there. And we're so excited about the Black Box, the brochure. And if you want a brochure, I will mail you one, or you can download it from the website. But the brochure is the size of a Denny's menu. So that's huge.
Right. If you can imagine,
it's the size of a Denny's menu, really, with all the beautiful pictures.
Right, and they have huge menus, and they serve everything from eggs to lasagna kind of thing. Those big menus. That's the information that you will get on the Black Box Barber Caddy, and it's worth it. It's solid content. It's all content, no fluff. If you want to know what it is, the information is there. Where it's going, the information is there. And more importantly, how you can get involved with it, the information is there. So I encourage you to go to the website and definitely check that out. So I asked the members, one of our lounge listeners, to pose some questions. And I have a lucky question that I've selected tonight at random from one of our listener lounge participants for the radio show. And it's a two-parter. And the question goes a little bit like this. What is the culture like at your organization, your own organization and your company? And how did you establish that culture? How did you establish that culture and support it?
Oh, what do they say? It's all starts at the top, attitude. If you are a person that care about people, you're going to attract people that care about people. It's just that simple.
Right.
I can just give you an example. And this is political, but Trump. It starts at the top. It
Yes, sir.
starts at the top. So
Mhm.
that's the culture that we have. And over the years, as I gotten older, I really, really care about people, and that's my Achilles heel. Is that I care too much for people. You know,
Yeah.
I'm told. I'm told. Not. I don't think so, but I'm told.
So they
But
say.
it all starts at the top. It
Okay.
all starts at the top. That's where it
Mhm.
starts.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Real good.
So
So,
if you've met and talked to me,
yep.
then you know everybody that I'm contacted with.
Yeah.
And if I meet someone that don't, they just feel very uncomfortable about being in our space.
Right. Understood. Totally. I totally get it. So here's one that I'm going to ask you. We've talked a lot. We've covered some good topics. So the only thing I would say to you, because this is the first time that I've had an opportunity to speak to you in this type of setting, would be, what is it that I have not asked you today that I either should ask you or that you'd like for me and the listeners to know?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. Um, what's my vision in the next 5 years? That's a good question.
Very good one. What do you have?
Yeah. Um, to see a black box barber caddy in 3% of all the beauty barbershops in the country,
Mm,
and also black. I like to see the box in black colleges.
mm,
Okay, and I would I would like to see the black community that's on the internet, and we have tremendous presence on the internet and all the social media platforms to try and work together as a unit, even if we can get 5%
mm-hmm.
of all the black folks
Yeah.
and the talented black folks to start, respecting each other and working with each other and sharing information,
Love
you
it.
know,
Mhm.
that, and with everything, if we do that, everything else is fall in place, because
Mm,
then you're going to want to. And then if someone helps you, pass it forward.
yeah.
Help someone else, pass it forward.
Wow. Well said. I don't think there's any more positive note to kind of conclude our session on today with. I like to thank you so much for your time, Sam. I know just based on the things that we've covered today, all of the things that you have influence over on a day-to-day basis, that you could be doing absolutely anything at this time in California out there where you are. And we are just most appreciative that you've taken the opportunity to spend some time with us today. So thank you, Sam, from us here at Business Beyond Borders and the Den radio station. We really appreciate your time. I want to thank our listeners today and invite you once again to go to www.bobsa.org. Read more about Sam, about the hair industry, and about anything else that you can find on that website. Don't leave without the content and the information that you need to know. Take Sam up on his offer. Give him a call if you have questions. We want to see you win. Thank you
Yeah,
so
and
much.
you can get a newsletter from us if you request it, called
Absolutely.
the dots.
The dots. Sign up for the newsletter. Stay in the loop. Know what's going on. Yeah, absolutely. Sign up for the newsletter. If you are just joining us, you missed a great amount of content, but you will be able to find out more about what we talked about at a later date, soon to come, on YouTube. So thank you guys so much for your time today. I'm your host, Rayshawn Chambers, and this concludes our session of Business Beyond Borders. Please have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sam.